For 2.5 days, delegates here debated constitution of the sessions following a question raised by Morocco. While the African Union recognizes Sahrawi Republic as a full member, the United Nations does not. And since the sessions were joint between the United Nations Economic Commission for Africa and the Africa Union, a decision must have been reached. Without consensus, a decision had to be made on Saturday afternoon.
We have come to the conclusion that the meeting be postponed.
Expectedly, the decision did not sit well with the majority of representatives of AU member states.
We have been violated in ways that the millions of people that are crossing the Mediterranean, going to seek some life elsewhere, running away from their own continent, have been violated. How are we going to deal? How are we going to say, what are we going to say to the millions of Africans who we think we represent? We've put on the table several options that provided for inclusivity, but we have come out less inclusive.
But it seems that a hidden agenda, which was developed gradually, has prevailed over the good faith and good cooperation from us.
Should call for an urgent meeting after this meeting immediately to find the solution to this problem before the upcoming summit of the African Union leaders.
Morocco and the Sahrawi Republic are in dispute over territories of the Western Sahara. Sahrawi claims sovereignty over the entire state of Western Sahara. Morocco controls much of the territory and calls these lands its southern provinces.
Today we express our power to show the member country of African Union that we are the majority. We lead the land. We are more than 80% and the rest just 20%. How come the minority lead the majority? We have the majority. We lead our country. Since though we are coming today and express to all the countries what's happened exactly in the land, and they are agree with us from that time until now.
Morocco's objection was supported by the UNECA. Morocco rejoined the African Union in January this year, and now they say that for as long as there is a joint meeting by UN and AU, Sahrawi, which is recognized by the AU, should not participate. Delegates now say the matter must be resolved before the next AU head of state meeting. A meeting of finance ministers that was planned for Monday can no longer take place, and future meetings remain threatened if the issue is not resolved. Kathryn Omwandho, CGTN, Dakar, Senegal.
And Kathryn Omwandho joins us now live from the Senegalese capital. Kathryn, let's take a step back here and look at the context. What was this meeting between these two parties intended to achieve? And by extension, what have African states lost out on due to this dispute between Morocco and the Sahrawi Republic?
Well, Rama, just to give you a background, we're right here outside King Fahd Palace, where the meeting was actually meant to take place. 23 finance ministers from 23 African countries had confirmed that they would come. 7 others said that they would send representatives. So we're talking about 30 finance ministers who are meant to come and discuss frameworks, meant to discuss policies that would help uplift the youth and uplift women who are, the vulnerable people when it comes to economic development, when it comes to inequality, when it comes to empowerment. So this discussion didn't manage to take place. We had the technical meetings. We also talk about, countries sent at least 4 representatives each for the technical meetings that took place last week. So we're talking about taxpayers' money that went to waste. The one representative from Zimbabwe said, a lot of African countries are not rich, so they can't afford such wastage, sending people to come to meetings that don't actually take place. What was meant to happen here was frameworks were supposed to be decided on, policies were supposed to be decided on that can actually uplift youth. And a lot of people were disappointed, saying that what are we going back to say to the youth, the millions of youth who are depending on this meeting to protect their rights in this growing economy that leaves them behind, Rama.
Indeed. I understand some concessions were made by some stakeholders as part of efforts to unlock this impasse and get the meeting underway. What concessions are offered, though, and why did they not work?
There were many suggestions from different member states. A lot of them were not made public, but what we do know, there were two options: to have ECA and AU meetings separated. So you have AU member state, an AU meeting separate from the UN ECA meeting. But that didn't happen because a lot of member states were saying that Sahrawi Republic is part of the AU and should take part in a joint meeting. So a lot of member states were saying, no, let's not do that. But they were saying Morocco should rise above this particular issue because this is not the place to raise a political matter. This is a political matter that needs to be discussed by heads of states and other people, and not technocrats like the ones who attended this particular meeting. So they were saying that Morocco should have, taken the goodwill and just risen above the particular issue and sorted it out somewhere else. But it seemed everyone was digging their heels, Rama.
Indeed. One last question for you, Kathryn. The meeting, obviously, between these two parties, the AU's Finance, Monetary Affairs, Economic Planning Unit and UNECA has been postponed. Do we know when that will happen, the next meeting that is, and how both sides plan to avoid this exact same thing happening again?
It caught everybody off guard, even the ECA itself. It caught, you come to a meeting and you expect it to take off and then doesn't take off and somebody brings up another issue. So a lot of organizers were caught off guard. But member states are saying that they should resolve this issue before the heads of state meeting in July. So the meeting should be held again before July. But there are those who are skeptical, saying that the only person or the only people who can resolve this particular matter are heads of state, and that can only take place in Addis. Rama.
Indeed. We'll have to leave it there for the time being. Thank you for the update. That's Kathryn Omwandho, of course. She was covering developments up north in Dakar.